Memphis Grizzlies, number 2 seed last year. Easy to overlook them because they go about their business and handle their business, although they run their mouths.
I was going to say they handle their business and they holler about it.
Right, but they don't. They didn't make any major splashes this offseason because they're not a team that signs free agents.
Well, and they lost some key pieces.
They lost Kyle Anderson to Minnesota.
I was going to say
they traded DeAnthony Melton.
Yeah.
To get an extra first-round pick.
Right.
Those are 2 guys who were significant contributors last year. Jaren Jackson Jr., it's not clear when he will be able to play.
That was a disappointing situation.
A guy who's had a lot of injury issues in his career. One, it's not clear when he's going to be able to play, and then when's he going to be able to get back in rhythm. And he was a legit Defensive Player of the Year candidate last year. He didn't have a very good offensive year. The picture of Jaren Jackson Jr., the potential of Jaren Jackson Jr. is he's unicornish offensively. He's a guy who he can shoot the three, which he did well early in his career. Really didn't last year. He barely played the year before. He can create a little bit with the ball in his hands. He can roll. He can pop. He can run the floor. They need him to have a bounce back year offensively. But man, Ja Morant, maybe the most fun player in the league.
So they did keep Tyus Jones.
Tyus
Jones was a guy that a lot of teams love to have as their backup point guard. He was willing to stay to be the backup, and they extended Ja, which was a no-brainer, but was good to have done. Mm-hmm. And no opt-out, full 5-year.
Full 5 years. Extension. And what a core going forward when you talk about Ja. Desmond Bain, who made a massive. He went from being it's a really nice 3-and-D guy he got in the last pick of the first round to holy crap, this is a legit, potential number 2 guy on a contender. I would say he's their second best player, and Jackson number 3. But that's a heck of a young core. I don't know if there's a better 23, 24 and under core in the league.
You mentioned the Melton trade where they picked up the extra first round pick. I think that just kind of speaks to how much they trust their draft process. They have nailed these picks.
I do think they like Zaire Williams, who was their first-round pick last year.
And played for him. Yeah. Played for a 56-win team.
Yeah. So, you know what I'm going to talk about? I'm going to talk about what they can do. They have plus picks. They have extra picks. And they have some guys on last year of their contract who are tradable. Danny Green was in that Melton trade. He's come back from the ACL, but he's basically a contract at this point. Dylan Brooks, who has played a key role for them, but is in the final year of his contract. He is extension eligible too, but potentially available in trade with a pick. And then, you're talking about it. You can really cook with gas there if you want to do something down the line. Now, of course, they would say, no, we want Dylan Brooks. We're going to keep Dylan Brooks, but okay. And Steven Adams, also in the last year of his contract. Now, you'd need another center, and he does play a role for them, but Steven Adams. So they're holding an interesting hand. They have all those last year guys. They have picks. They own all their picks. They have extra picks. So, and they have
and they're a team that had the second best record in the Western Conference last year, and certainly has the potential for a long window,
which is what they're looking for.
For an 8-10
But there was
year
a
type of
reason.
window.
There were some people that whispered about them for Durant because they have the type of assets.
Yeah.
They built this team through the draft. They draft really well. They don't use free agency. They use the draft and trade, specifically the draft. It's hard for me to think.
They use free agency. Remember Chandler Parsons?
That's why they don't use free agency. They're not a destination anyway. But
overrated barbecue.
I'm not sure they're going to be willing to give the overrated
barbecue.
Whoa,
the barbecue's overrated there.
It's a Texan saying that.
That is a Texan saying
Actually, delete that. I got to go there the first week of October.
Actually, don't delete that. All right.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.